The price of everything relating to machining seems to be going through the roof. So what are the best ways to stay afloat during these turbulent times? What's up guys? Ian Sandusky from Lakewood Machine and Tool, back here again for Practical Machinist. And today on Machine Shop Talk, we're gonna be going through some of the most important things you can do to stay afloat, even as things go up and up and up regarding costs. But before we do, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you want to see more videos like this. Let's get into it. Okay guys, so as promised today, we're going to be talking about cost increases. For any of you guys who have done quoting, any of you guys involved on the purchasing side of things, any of you guys who are running shops, you will know that costs related to machining are going through the roof. And when I say costs related to machining, we're talking about tooling, we're talking about coolant, we're talking about the price of new machines, we're talking the price of material. All these things for the last at least 2 years have gone from, being on a very slight increase, as the years go on, to a spike. And this spike does not seem to be going down anytime soon. So today we're going to be talking about some strategies you can use to help mitigate this. I got this because I was on the Practical Machinist forums. If you guys haven't checked them out yet, make sure you check them out. But there was a thread there and a guy was just having a general discussion about aluminum pricing increases. And what this guy was seeing, I believe he was in the States, East Coast, if my memory serves. And he was trying to just see what pricing on aluminum was like in other areas of the country, because he was having big issues with the fact that every time he was buying aluminum, the price was going up and up and up. And we're not talking about he orders in January, May, and December. We're talking about this guy orders weekly or bi-weekly, and every single time this guy's pricing is going up and up and up. First things first, guys, everybody's responses on there were pretty much the exact same as my own. And this is not a unique situation to any one shop. This is not a unique situation to any one supplier. This is an industry-wide issue. It is a supply chain issue. I believe, there's inflation issues in there. There's a lot of contributing factors that go into this. Like I've said before in my other videos, guys, I am not an economist. I am a small shop owner. So, I can't tell you all the reasons it's happening, but I can tell you it's happening. It's significant and it's providing a very difficult challenge for a lot of us to deal with. It's very easy to quote a job if all your inputs on cost are consistent. But when you're quoting a job and every single time you're quoting that job out, you need to get quotes on material, you need to be able to justify price increases every single time in order to make sure you are making your shop rate per hour. Because if your costs are not going up, but your material, or if your quote is not going up, but your material costs are, or your coolant costs are, or your tooling costs are, all you're doing is chipping away at your margin, and all of a sudden you're one of those guys racing to the bottom trying to get any work in the door because your margins have gone from somewhere where you can pay your guys comfortably to a situation where you're barely paying your bills. So first off, this is industry-wide. Everybody is dealing with it, so if you are dealing with it right now, just know that you are not alone. Some strategies that I've been using here at Lakewood Machine and Tool to try to help mitigate this, because it is a very real situation that I've had to deal with on a daily basis. First off is change your quoting validity dates. What I mean by that is this. So on every single quote that I send out with Lakewood Machine and Tool, when someone comes in and they want a job quoted out for us to look at, I put right on the bottom, it's in my QuickBooks little quote thing, quote valid for 30 days. This has been in the past because you'll quote something out in January, the customer may have to go and make some revisions, may need to deal with other ends of their supply chain. They come back 6 months later and then you need to explain to them, hey, listen, pricing is not the same. Now, instead of saying my quote is valid for 30 days, I've changed that to my quote is valid for 7 days. 7 days only. So if you are getting something quoted out by my shop, you have 7 days to get committed to that pricing. Otherwise, we are not going to be able to honor it. That's because, as a lot of you guys know, like for instance, my biggest aluminum plastic supplier, the one I get a lot of that stuff off, they used to have the same kind of deal where they'd say quote is valid for 30 days as of when you receive it. They've changed to what's called PIE, or price in effect. That means that your quote is valid maybe for 1 day. So if I get something quoted out on Monday, I order it Tuesday, that pricing may have changed. For instance, I just ordered a very large run of 6063 aluminum from one of the mills that this supplier deals with. I ordered that in January. Lead time was about 12 weeks, and I've already had 2 increases on that pricing, even though I put that order in, because there's pricing effect from the mill. As pricing has gone up, even though I don't even have my material in-house, even though I've put in the PO, that pricing has gone up, and you have to sit there and deal with it. But because when I quoted out that job, I told my customer, listen guys, my vendor for this is a very large job, has price in effect. We could be talking about a 15 to 20% increase by the time that actually goes through. So this is a 7-day valid quote. It's a difficult situation, but what it does, by having a policy right there on your quote that says your quote is only for valid days, it's the kind of decision that takes away 1,000 decisions, or it's the kind of one line that you can put in something that removes 1,000 conversations that you would have to have after. I love decisions like this. It makes it a policy, it makes it so you don't have to have that discussion with every single customer every time. It's right there, it's a policy you have on your quotes. Hey, listen, why is your pricing gone up? Well, please see your quote. It's one of those things that helps streamline your conversations and gives you a jumping off point, and it helps make customers understand right off the bat that, listen, we are in a very fluid situation. I haven't seen pricing go down, it's usually going up, but it moves. So you need to be prepared for that. And decisions like that are gonna make your life much easier. The next thing that we're doing and other shops are doing is considering stocking material. Guys, pricing has not gone down since this big supply chain issue started happening, right when COVID hit 2020. I've only seen pricing go in one direction, and that's up, and it seems to be going faster and faster rather than slowing down. So if you have certain jobs or certain customers that order, repeat parts, I would consider stocking material. That's because you can get material on the shelf. If you guys don't know, some material is just not available right now. So if you find a spot where you can get material in-house for a job, consider doubling your order. If it's not gonna kill you to put 4 bars of 1x2 on the shelf instead of 2, I would recommend doing it, because at the end of the day, guys, pricing's not going down. That's not gonna be wasted money. It's not like you're gonna buy a piece of material at $100 today and it's gonna go to $20 tomorrow. If anything, it's gonna go to $120 tomorrow. So you can always put extra material on the shelf. Now, you are not a bank. You are not a lending facility for your customer. At the end of the day, guys, we all have to pay our bills, and we can't be putting up more and more money up front in order to keep your cash flow going properly. So what you can do is you can talk to your customers, and I've done this and it works, and let them know the situation that's going on. And guys, most customers that you're gonna have that work in this industry already know what's going on. So a conversation I like to have with them about stocking material is saying, hey, listen, you're ordering this part once a month right now. Right now it is, let's say, 2 bars of material per run. Instead of me having to go and quote this higher and higher every time, why don't we lock you in for the next 3 months at this price, but you're gonna pay in advance for the material, or you're gonna put a 50% deposit down on the next 3 months of parts in order to lock in that pricing. So that A, you're not getting stuck holding the bag if they stop ordering and you're stuck with material on the shelf. And B, guys, it helps them out because they can actually do their forecasting properly in order to know how much things are gonna cost. It's a great scenario. I use it a lot. I used it even before this whole situation started, but that helps take some of the risk and some of the upfront costs out of stocking material for your customer. And guys, don't go crazy. Unless you are a warehouse or you have crazy warehouse space, no one is suggesting or thinking it's a good idea to put a year's worth of material on the floor unless you have the capacity and capital for that. If you can, great. But for most small shops like myself, consider doubling an order of material, or consider adding an extra month worth of material on the floor, because not only is that pricing going to be locked in, at least you're going to be able to get that material. And sometimes that's an issue all its own. Lastly, guys, Open communication with your customers during these kind of situations is going to be the biggest asset you could possibly have. I know this tends to be a suggestion for a lot of these shop management issues we have, but I always feel it is so important to drive home. Open communication when you're quoting, open communication when jobs are running through the floor, open communication when you mess something up and you need to fix it. No matter what, guys, whether you're chasing up money, open communication with your customers and proper open communication is going to make or break you in a lot of these situations. Open communication doesn't mean being open with your customer about all your frustrations or being open with your customer about every challenge you face, but having an open and direct line of communication where you can talk to your customers and say, hey, listen, this is the issue I'm dealing with. How do we work together to solve this issue? Because, you know, I don't want my issue to become your issue. How can I still help you out? That's the way to solve these problems. So when you're having these issues and saying, listen, material pricing is going up, call your purchaser, call the owner of the shop you deal with and say, hey, listen guys, this is a scenario. How can we try to develop a strategy together to make sure you can get material, to make sure that you can get material for your parts, to make sure that your pricing can at least have some consistency, or what can we do to help forecast some price increases and requotes to make sure that everybody's getting taken care of properly. And guys, if you're working with customers and companies who are not easy to communicate with, that is gonna be the #1 thing I want you to work on. You know, go out and make your phone calls, drop in, say hello, open up those lines of communication, because as we are all working to redevelop and rebuild, you know, Western manufacturing, as a lot of stuff is reshoring, now is the time to get those relationships established, and it's time to, you know, make sure they are the kind of relationships that we want moving forward. One last thing, guys, and it's related to open conversation or open communication, and that's trust. There are a lot of opportunities here for bad actors or customers or companies who are maybe not so savory to use the excuse of material cost increases or use the excuse of tooling cost increases to chisel their customers. Now is not the time to chisel. You know, we can all make excuses for why things need to cost more and why we need to quote it higher. If you are chiseling and you are caught chiseling, because let's say you tell your customer, oh, pricing on material has gone up 300%, they buy from another customer or supplier and they know it hasn't, you're gonna get burned, and you deserve to get burned in that scenario. Having trust from your customers and developing that relationship that they trust that you are looking out for their best interest is going to make this work. If your customer can trust that you're only asking for what you need versus trying to get greedy, you're fine. If your customer doesn't trust you, they're gonna be second guessing every time you're telling them, hey, I need a 2% increase, hey, I need a 5% increase. They don't trust you, they're gonna say, no, and they're gonna go somewhere else, whether you genuinely needed that increase or not. If your customer does not trust you, you've got a problem. So make sure you are developing that trust if you don't have it and maintaining it if you do. Anyways, guys, I would like to hear in the comments below some suggestions you guys have for dealing with cost increases as we're all dealing with this very scary, very difficult situation. So please let me know in the comments below. As well, make sure you like and subscribe, and there's a little bell where you can click on a lot of these social networks that will let you get notifications when we upload new videos. The best way to know when we upload new videos, click that little bell, sign up for notifications. That way you'll never miss a Practical Machinist video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. As always, this is Ian Sandusky from Lakewood Machine and Tool. You take care.